Great to have you along on this Friday where we are going red for women, and you might be seeing more red popping up around town today because it's not just because we're inching closer to Valentine's Day, but
today is National Wear Red Day, meaning it's time to raise awareness about the importance of heart health, especially in women. Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women.
And this morning we are joined by Sherly Zaworksi. She spent years searching for a diagnosis for her chest and jaw pain, and she is now an advocate for the American Heart Association. Welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for everyone wearing so much red today. It's great to see.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure. So tell us about your journey. We were talking in the break. This started back in 2015 for you, where you were trying to find answers for your chest pain and your jaw pain.
That's correct. So I had an episode in 2015 that was very much symptoms like a heart attack. So I headed to the ER, and there was no evidence I was having a heart attack. I was diagnosed with esophageal spasm, which is a common ER diagnosis. And yet I continued for the next 4 years to have symptoms of jaw and chest pain. Every year I went back and had the same tests over and over again that were all normal. And finally, one evening I fell asleep on the couch watching TV, and I was awakened by, again, probably the most severe chest and jaw pain experience I had ever had. And so the next morning I got up and I said, it's time for me to be my best own healthcare advocate. And so by the end of the day, I had an appointment with a specialist in what I have as my heart condition. And then that next week I was diagnosed with microvascular disease and endothelial dysfunction.
Well, it's good that you were listening to your body, and it's so important to be our own health advocates. You know, often people think of heart disease maybe as something that affects men. We talk about that a lot, but that is not the case. The message is changing. So for other women, you know, the jaw pain too, you know, we hear certain other things might be, you know, heart, you know, you're feeling a certain pain down your arm, but the jaw pain is something that maybe, would you say that doctors weren't sure what to do with that?
Yes, actually, one of my doctors kept saying, have you been to the dentist lately? You know, is there anything wrong? You should go to the dentist. And so even though many women do experience jaw pain as a symptom, it's sometimes misread. And the symptoms of women can be very different from men. You know, there's that typical Hollywood heart attack that everyone thinks of where, you know, you clutch your chest and you fall down. And sometimes that's what it looks like, but more often that's for men than for women. Women have different symptoms. Sometimes it could be even just achiness in your back or extreme fatigue or, you know, jaw pain, obviously chest pain, but women's symptoms can look very different.
Sure. We know a big focus for this month of being aware of heart disease is CPR, knowing CPR, and why do you think that's so important for everyone to know?
It's extremely important. Many people never make it to the hospital. You're much more likely to die of a heart attack if you're not in the hospital. And so it's important to know CPR. The American Heart Association this month has a campaign where we're hoping that people will take up the challenge and find a way for at least one person in their household to be trained in CPR.
I like that.
Good thing to do.
It's important to take charge of your health, and it's important to learn CPR. A good message to pass along today, Cheryl. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. And everyone, if you can, wear some red today.
I like that. Yes.
Thank you.
We'll do it.
Sparks conversation, for sure.